Hey, I'm Summer.
And I'm Mike.
And we got married.
With children.
We're married 2 years now.
Blended for 11.
Like a margarita.
Yeah, baby, like a margarita.
And you're listening to the Everything Always podcast.
Want to tell them why we do this?
We do this because blending families isn't easy. There's step-parenting, co-parenting, his ex,
Her ex.
schedules, sibling rivalry,
Money issues.
custody issues.
Dating and relationship issues.
It's a whole lot of stuff.
Blended with a whole lot of good stuff.
And we're here to talk about all of it because we've done most of it.
We might not be experts, but we've learned a lot.
And we're still learning, and we want to share that with you.
Thanks for joining. Now let's go.
Hello, Everything Always podcast listeners. Oh my gosh, it has been a long time since Mike and I have done an episode, and we were just gearing up to launch our next season. We have some phenomenal guests, and I've recorded a lot of episodes. We have some really great content for you guys, but we're pushing this in front of all of those. So we're putting this episode out before those because it seems really important to do so. We've seen a lot of questions circulating around today's topic. So it seemed really important to put this out there. At this time of this recording, we are about 2 weeks into the COVID-19 quarantine that we've had issued here in the state of California. Yeah, these are some pretty pressing matters that are at stake now, and the world is facing some really uncertain times right now. So I wanted to put this episode out there with the goal being to answer as many questions as I can in relation to COVID-19 and co-parenting and what might be on your mind if you are in the position of sharing custody, if you've got stepkids, bonus kids coming back and forth into your home and having those transitions between households. So I know that this is a very fast-moving situation, and we have new information coming at us each day. So these topics are being addressed as of today. Right now, I'm recording in Logan's bedroom. It's probably the most soundproof and quiet place right now. It also happens to be very clean because Logan is like the cleanest and tidiest child of our bunch. But you may hear some background noises. There's still kids doing their loud stuff that they're doing. The girls are baking. They've been baking a ton. Anyways, there are a lot of questions about co-parenting and the virus and what is allowed and what should be done and how to handle if someone should get sick within your family. So I'm going to try to cover as much as I can. Please note that this is based on my research and seeing what the most common questions are. And I'm also going to share what we're doing as a family. I'm going to try to stay as organized as possible. But this was, kind of I want to put this together. I want to put together these 10 helpful tips. Even under normal circumstances, co-parenting can be a struggle. And we're being told that we need to stay home now. And we're being told that we need to practice social distancing and wash our hands 8,000 times a day. So, what if you have been following the rules and now it's time for you and your husband to get his son back or you to get your children back? What if you're nervous? What if you're like, wait, I just heard that his mom allowed him to have friends over, or I just FaceTimed him. He was sharing popcorn with all of his friends while watching a movie out of the same bowl. And I remember those friends. I remember when they came over. They're like the kids that I never hear the sink running after they flush the toilet. These are things to be paranoid about. What do you do? I don't know that I have all of the answers. And so what I'm doing is giving the best that we can, the best advice and the best that we have read, and also, sharing our opinions and what we're doing. Moving kids between two different households during this time, especially with a fast-moving pandemic, is definitely going to be challenging, and it's definitely going to cause some concern. I will say that most families that we know in our community that are co-parenting have been maintaining their current schedules. In our household, we have a mix of things going on. So we've had Logan and Chloe throughout since the beginning of the quarantine, and they are staying with us. And, there's different things going on. Our kids are older. My children's father has other younger kids. So there's things going on. And so this is just what we are doing. And they are older. And so FaceTiming and, phone use, all of that is a little bit easier. And there's not as much attachment to, oh, I miss mommy or I miss daddy. It's a little bit that kind of stuff has lessened as they've gotten older and they're more mature. So I do think that something like this is easier to do when kids are older. I think it's definitely quite different when they're younger. So there's many different situations. Ashlyn has been staying home at her mom's, and she just came to our house for the second week of quarantine. And Justin, he's older, so he's staying at his mom's, and he's come over just to do like a hike with Mike, while maintaining social distancing exercises. They're in effect and washing hands and all of that. But with the girls, they wanted to be together. They missed each other. And we also knew that Ashlyn had been at her mom's house and quarantined and practicing all the safe social distancing. But we did need to think about it. We considered all options, and we had many conversations like, what do we do? What is right for our family right now? And we talked to other parents in regards to this. That being said, what I have done here is compiled tips for you that I think will help in answering all of those big questions. What do I do when it comes to co-parenting? And what do I do? Do we maintain our court order? I don't know what to do. So hopefully some of these tips will help answer those questions. And please note too, this is strictly advice and based on research that I have, listened to from attorneys, from different experts that have been blogging about this. And so I've tried to compile it and put it all together, and stuff, of course, that I agree to be really good advice. And some of these things, not everything can be accomplished because every co-parenting situation is different. So how do you successfully co-parent during the COVID-19 crisis, especially when everyone is asked to stay home? How do you maintain your part of the custody agreement? It's definitely complicated. We've had some leaders from the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers and the Association of Family and Conciliation Courts. They've released guidelines for co-parenting during this COVID-19 pandemic. And so these are suggested tips that I am pulling from them. So the first one, we've got 10 here. So the first one is stay as clean as you can. And please model this behavior for your kids. So if you're washing your hands a lot, you need to be washing your hands a lot. Do it for 20 seconds. You've probably heard this all over the place, but yes, wash your hands a lot for 20 seconds. Wipe down surfaces that are frequently touched, like doorknobs, faucets, the toilet flusher, the countertops, and have your kids help you do this too. Like, we're having our kids help do this. Hey, here's some, antibacterial wipes, or here's a spray, whatever it is, have them do that and help you. This is all helping to model behavior for your kids. Number 2, be cool. And so what I mean by this is you don't need to have like alarming news playing all day long for your kids to hear. Because especially if some of them already have anxiety about what's going on, or they're frustrated that they have to stay home for so long, listening to all of this is probably not it's not making them feel better. So I would say get your facts that you need and then just continue on with your day. Like, I will have a moment of the day where I'm like, okay, let me just quickly check in and see what's going on. Or let me see, what does the governor have to say today? I'll tune into that. And then I can share necessary information. But panicking doesn't help. So talk about it and let them ask questions and address it, but try to refrain from doom and gloom, because I really don't think that helps anyone. Number 3, stick with the court orders unless you have made other arrangements. Okay, so here's answering that burning question. So like I said earlier, I know families that are continuing with their court orders and custody agreements. They're basically staying quarantined inside of their own homes, and they're making the transition super easy. Like, wash your hands, As soon as you come in, wash your hands, take off your shoes. Some people change your clothes. And they're making a very easy transition. Just head to the door. Nobody needs to shake hands or pleasantries or any of that. It's just a very clean transition. Some have created more flexible schedules that involve less transferring back and forth. So if you are somebody who maybe can't work at all from home, there's not really anything that you can do, but you have somebody, your spouse, who does need to work, maybe you have more flexible schedules. In a perfect world, you could be very cordial to each other and come up with that agreement together through really good communication. So if you can communicate and come to an agreement as best you can, that is the best. Just remember that your child and all of you being healthy is the priority. One thing I would say while we're talking about this is please do not use it as an excuse to keep a child away from another parent. So if you have both agreed that a child is going to stay at one parent's for a longer period of time, then that is great. But don't use it as an excuse of, I'm not going to let you see little Joey because this pandemic is going on, and so I'm just going to keep him here safe with me. You both need to come to an agreement on that because there is still a court order in place, and it is considered one of the necessary things. So, it's if you can do things that are necessary to do, and that is considered necessary still. Number 4, embrace the time that you have. If you are at home and you're not required to be out for work or to assist other people and you are at home, it's a great opportunity to use this time to do things you maybe didn't have time to do before and even spend more time with your children that you didn't have before. That might be things like more games with the kids, more crafts. Maybe it's cleaning out your closets or your cupboards. Maybe it's baking. Like I said, our girls have been baking like nonstop. There's been a ton of baking going on and cooking of all kinds. So yeah, they've been cooking a lot. We've got bags of clothes that are ready to get donated too. So take that as an opportunity and really embrace the time.
Hey, thank you so much for listening to our podcast.
Yes, we appreciate you so much, and we hope you know that we support you in whatever stage you're at.
We took a leap here, sharing our mistakes and wins with you.
Yeah, we're getting pretty vulnerable here, but we know that we've learned from those who have been brave enough to share with us, and we want to do that with you.
Hey, can you do us a favor? If you like what you hear, will you press pause and rate the podcast and write a review?
Oh, and while you're at it, share it, please.
And if you have questions, you can find us on all of our social channels.
Okay, ready to get back to it?
Let's do it.
Number 5, be honest. If you feel sick or you notice symptoms from your children or anyone in the household, please let the other parent know. Let all parents know involved. So if you have a blended family and your husband's ex needs to know if someone is sick in your home, you need to let her know, not just your ex. All the parents involved should be aware of this. And also be honest about any exposure that may have happened. So-and-so from this household went out and he was with somebody who he felt might have been sick. Be honest and let everybody know, because then you can decide together what the best step is to take. And it's just, it's not trying to alarm. It's just the respectful, responsible thing to do. Number 6, be kind. You may have fought in the past. You may have just gone through a wicked argument. But when it comes to co-parenting, please try to be as kind as you can, especially during a time like this. There's a lot of people that are struggling, definitely with immediate economic hardship with all of this. And it's something that may or may not get repaired or may not go back to normal when all of this, when we go back to normal. It might not become normal that, okay, now I'm getting paid again. Now things are good. For some of these people, this might be a more permanent economic hardship. We don't know. So being understanding and kind when talking about these issues is so important, because it's all going to affect your children. And another thing to think about is that economic hardship is likely to affect child support payments. So be empathetic and understanding on both sides. The one who pays child support may have a more difficult time paying that. And the one who is receiving it, it's going to be hard on them too. So can we have empathy on both sides? Like, hey, I understand you're not going to be able to pay as much as normal, but can we work out some type of an agreement? And the more calm and kind that you can be about this, the better it will be for both people. So do the best you can. But at the same time, don't use it as an opportunity to now hold back payments. Instead, be open and honest. Communicate. Because, believe it or not, I do believe that it's times like these that can actually foster an opportunity for parents to come together, to actually put their attention on what is best for the child. And your kids will remember this time. I mean, this is a historical time that's happening right now, and it will live on in their memories. And you have an opportunity to be an example on the way that you dealt with it, the way that you both dealt with it together as co-parents. The next 3 that I'm going to share is something that I actually shared. I'm going to tweak it a little bit as it pertains to families, but it's something that I shared with my audience from my business podcast. And I do believe that it applies here too. So the next one is, don't just react, respond. Respond creatively. And we talk about this a lot on our podcast, Mike and I. This situation is changing faster than anybody can keep up with. And it's very easy to waste hours and days, even weeks, just reacting to everything that's happening. You can check the internet 50 times. You can check Instacart, Amazon, and all of that for more toilet paper and hand sanitizer over and over again. You can obsess over, the credit that you're supposed to get back on your airline ticket. You can obsess on bills that you're not going to be able to pay. But take a pause. And instead of having these fast twitch reactions, because it seems like the best thing to do sometimes is to panic, and it's like the only option you have right now is to panic, but take time to pause and think, do I really need to react to this right now? Does this need my immediate attention right now, or can I get back to it later? Because most things aren't as urgent as you believe they are in the moment. Especially in a crisis like this. I know it feels that way, but take a pause. Take a pause and think, okay, what else should I be doing right now? What else should I be focused on right now? How can I creatively take care of this right now? Because the way that you respond to this is so important. And it's such an important example to your family that you are now quarantined with and are on top of you all day long. They're watching you. They're watching every move. The next one that I had shared with my business audience was to show up as the best version of yourself. Because it's so important right now for your family, for your spouse, for your friends. It's so important how you show up because they need you. They do need you. The elderly people, your parents, they need you. They need you to tell them to stay home. I had to do this with my dad. You got to persuade them. You've got to influence them to do the right things. And they need your support. So checking in with them and even checking in with your friends and seeing how you can be there for them, how you can do some virtual happy hours. We've been doing that. It's been super fun. There's so many really cool games too that you can play on your phone. So we've literally had Zoom set up. We've had friends pop in and we're having dinner and we're playing games, and it's so much fun. And it's important because it keeps your morale up. It keeps that energy up. So show up as the best version of yourself. Help organize some things like this and be an example to your family. So important. And then the next, focus on the positive. So the way that I see it is that you can tackle the COVID-19 crisis, or any crisis for that matter, in one of 2 ways. You can do what a lot of people do and are doing, and you can panic. And you can be obsessed with listening to the news. And that's all you do. You can do that. Or you can roll up your sleeves and you can take care of some things that you've been meaning to take care of. So that when this is over, you and your family are stronger than ever. You can continue on. You can be an example of how to get through a crisis. And finally, This is the quote that I mentioned in my emails and in a blog for my business audience. And it's from the Stoic philosopher. He's also a Roman emperor. His name is Marcus Aurelius, and he wrote this in his diary 2,000 years ago. There's two quotes that I'm going to share with you right now. And so the first one is, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It's good, isn't it? You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. We can't control the virus. We can control our mind. We can control what we're doing inside of our homes. We can't control outside events. Once you realize this, you will find strength. So ponder that one. Ponder that. The next one that he says, which is so great, I love this so much, goes like this. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Think about that. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Yes, we have an impediment now. There are things we are being held back from doing. But what stands in the way becomes the way. There are things that you are doing now. There are opportunities that are coming up, and I encourage you to see that. Whether it's how you can now move forward co-parenting, whether it helped get you two on the same page and you hadn't been on the same page in so long. It helped you realize that you can be flexible when it comes to different schedules. It helped you realize that you can be empathetic. I'm hoping that this comes about for you. It might not, and maybe it's just the opposite. Maybe it causes more conflict. Maybe that conflict becomes an opportunity in how you can deal with conflict. I really love that quote, and I really think that it's such a powerful way of looking at things, of looking at obstacles, really seeing how they can be an opportunity and how they can become and really foster the new way of doing things, the new way of doing something in a better way because the old way maybe wasn't working anymore. And also your mindset. You do have control over that. That alone is so powerful. Okay, so with that, Mike is not here with me right now. He's downstairs being loud with all the rest of them. But I can tell you this. He and I will be recording some more podcasts during this time that we are home together. We do have some really fantastic episodes coming up with some really great experts and some really awesome stepmoms that are some pretty big influencers on social media. And I can tell you this, we wish you all so much love and strength and inspiration and motivation and calm and fun and laughs with your family during this time. This could be weeks to come, months to come. We don't know how long this is going to last. So for as long as this lasts and beyond that, we wish you all those beautiful things.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. Our goal is to bring you all kinds of value that will help you navigate these challenging waters of blending a family.
Reach out to us if there's something specific you want to hear.
And don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.
And if you really like it, share with someone you love.
Ooh, and be bold enough to share it with someone you don't.